I used to love math. There was something satisfying about solving a problem, about finding the right answer and knowing it was mine. But that was before Mr. Grayson. He walked into our calculus class on the first day of senior year, like he owned the place. He introduced himself with a confidence that made half the girls in the room blush. I didn't think much of it at first. He was just another teacher, right? Wrong. By the second week, I started noticing the way his eyes lingered on certain students, always the girls. At first, I told myself I was imagining it, but then it happened to me.
Emma, you're falling behind. Maybe you should come in for some extra help after school.
I'll think about it. Lily, sitting by the corner, shot me a look. I nodded, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to believe it. The first test came, and I thought I was ready. I'd studied for hours, gone over every problem until my head hurt, but when I got my paper back, there was a big red F at the top. Mr. Grayson caught my eye and smirked.
See me after class, Emma.
I did. He sat behind his desk and gave me that same too-perfect smile.
You're smarter than this. I know you can do better. Maybe you just need motivation.
I didn't like the way he said it, but I didn't know what to do. I just nodded and left, my stomach in knots. By the third test, I was desperate. Lily and I had studied together every night, but nothing seemed to stick. We were drowning, and Mr. Grayson knew it.
What if we, cheat?
Are you serious?
Do we have a choice? If we fail this class, we're done. My parents will kill me, and yours will probably disown you.
She was right. I hated it, but she was right. The day of the test, we snuck in a cheat sheet. It was stupid, risky, and completely out of character for both of us. But we were desperate. It didn't matter. Mr. Grayson caught us.
I want to see you both in my office.
We sat there trembling as he stared us down.
You think you're clever? You think you can outsmart me?
Please, sir, we will do anything. Just don't fail us.
Anything you said? All right then.
I didn't tell anyone what happened, not even my boyfriend Jake. He was sweet, kind, and everything Mr. Grayson wasn't. When he kissed me after school that day, I felt like I was betraying him just by being there.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just stressed about calculus. He pulled me into a hug, and for a moment, I felt safe. But it didn't last. Lily and I failed the test, of course. Mr. Grayson made sure of it. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't focus in class, couldn't sleep at night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Mr. Grayson smirk, heard his voice saying, "Anything?" It made me sick to my stomach. Lily and I barely talked about it. We didn't need to. The look in her eyes said it all. She was just as scared as I was. After school one day, Jake and I went to our usual spot by the lake. It was our place where we could escape the chaos of school and just be together.
Hey, you look like you've had a day.
You have no idea.
Talk to me. What's going on?
I wanted to tell him. I really did. But how could I explain something I didn't even understand myself? Just calculus. It's killing me.
You're the smartest person I know. You'll figure it out.
I wished I could believe him. Later that night, Lily came over. We sat on my bedroom floor, surrounded by textbooks we weren't really reading.
What are we going to do?
I don't know, but we can't let him win.
What if we don't have a choice?
We always have a choice, Lil. We just have to figure out what it is. The next test was a disaster. I tried to study, tried to focus, but my mind kept wandering back to Mr. Grayson's office, to the way he'd looked at me. When I got my paper back, there was another big red F at the top, and I felt like I was suffocating. Mr. Grayson was at his desk, grading papers, when I went to meet him.
What do you want, Emma?
I want to pass, please. I'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes? We'll see.
I didn't sleep that night. Mr. Grayson's words echoed in my head. We'll see. What did that even mean? Was he toying with me? Testing me? I didn't know, but I couldn't just sit back and let him ruin my life. The next morning, I met Lily at her locker before school. She looked as exhausted as I felt. We need to do something. We can't let him get away with this.
What can we do? He's the teacher. No one's going to believe us.
There had to be another way. If we couldn't fight him, maybe we could play along, just long enough to take back control. We need to be smart. We have to find a way to protect ourselves.
You mean, go along with what he wants?
Just until we can turn things in our favor. She looked at me with uncertainty, but we both knew we had no other choice. That afternoon, I stayed after class. Mr. Grayson sat on his desk, his eyes fixed on me. I want to pass.
I knew you were smart enough to come around. You and Lily both want to pass, don't you?
I nodded, feeling my stomach twist. Yes. Then we have an understanding. Lily joined me later that night in my room. We didn't need words. We both knew what we were getting into. One night, he invited Lily to his office after school, offering her a drink. She didn't think much of it at first, but after a few sips, her mind became hazy. The next morning, she woke up feeling strange, unable to recall what had happened. A week later, it was my turn. Mr. Grayson called me in under the guise of discussing my grades. He handed me a glass of water, and before I knew it, everything faded into a blur. When I opened my eyes again, something felt off, but I couldn't quite piece it together. Weeks passed. We kept our grades up, but the price we paid was higher than we could have imagined. Mr. Grayson had total control over us, and there was no way out. The power he held over us tightened like a noose, and we were suffocating. We promised each other that when graduation came, we would walk away and never look back. But life had other plans. Lily was the first to suspect it. She had been feeling sick for days, but we had brushed it off as stress until she missed her period.
I need to take a test, and I think you should too.
I swallowed hard. Deep down, I already knew. 2 tests later, we sat on my bed, staring at the results. 2 pink lines. 2 lives changed forever. We were both pregnant. The realization hit us like a wave, drowning us in fear, regret, and uncertainty. What would we do? How could we face our families? And worst of all, what would Mr. Grayson do when he found out? We met him after school the next day. His usual smirk faltered as he looked between us.
What is this?
We're pregnant.
That's not my problem.
It is, and you're going to deal with it.
You'll take care of it. Quietly.
We're not going to be quiet anymore.
Word spread quickly. Whispers followed us through the hallways. People pointed, gossiped, and judged. Mr. Grayson tried to deny it, but the damage was done. The administration launched an investigation, and soon the truth unraveled. He was fired, his career shattered, but none of it changed our reality. We were still alone, still pregnant, still unsure of what came next. Lily and I leaned on each other through it all. We made a pact. No matter what happened, we wouldn't let this break us.
I never thought this would be our story.
Me neither, but we'll figure it out. Together. It wasn't the ending we wanted, but it was the one we got. And somehow we would make it through.
Did you enjoy the video? If you enjoy the story, hit subscribe and turn the notification bell so you will never miss a new video. Drop the comment to let us know what you think. Thanks for watching and see you in the next post.